Hello, dear students. My name is Bankeshwar Panigrahi. So, in our last class, we have discussed about the process control block or PCB and the working structure of process control block. Today, we are going to discuss a new topic related to the process concept, that is your CPU scheduling. So, before start the topic, first we have to know that what is CPU scheduling and why nowadays we are going for different types of CPU scheduling algorithms or different types of CPU scheduling methods. So in older days, or when the systems are working on uniprogramming concept, at that time the processor will execute only one job at a time, and the remaining jobs, those are entered into the system for execution. They are waiting until one job's execution is finished. In a uniprogramming environment, the processor is able to execute one job at a time. But nowadays, we are using multi-programming systems, or we are working with multi-programming environment. So where multiple processes can be executed by a single processor, or multiple jobs or multiple processes can be executed by more than one processor. So when the more than one jobs will execute by a single processor, there the operating system first prepares one schedule. From that schedule, it selects one after another job and give to the processor for execution. Okay. So scheduling is nothing but it is a technique through which a processor will govern or control the execution of multiple processes one after another smoothly or effectively. Again, I am going to tell you that what is scheduling. Scheduling is a method or technique through which a processor will govern or control the execution of multiple processes one after another smoothly or effectively. Okay. So this is the definition for scheduling. Okay. So we may go through the notes. Okay. For reading careful, knowing more about the uniprogramming environment as well as the multi-programming environment, and why we are using this CPU scheduling, all about this, we are going to the notes. Okay. So as I've told you that in the uniprogramming systems like MS-DOS, when a process waits for any I/O operation to be done, the CPU remains idle. So this is not idle, this is idle ideally. Okay. This is a print mistake here. So in the uniprogramming systems like MS-DOS, when a process waits for any IO operation to be done, the CPU remains idle. That means if the process in the uniprogramming systems, if the process execution finishes and it needs some IO operation, then the CPU will remains idle at that time. Okay. So this is an overhead since it wastes the time and causes the problem of starvation. That means CPU will wait until the process will finishes its IO operation. Okay. So that means here the CPU is waiting for some time for one process that needs IO operation. That state is called as idle state for a CPU or for a processor. Okay. So idle state means the processor will wait for one process and not functioning any other processes execution, and that the waiting time of CPU for one process is called as the idle time period. Okay. So next point, it is given here that however in multi-programming systems the CPU does not remain idle during the waiting time of the processes and it starts executing other processes. Operating system has to define which process the CPU will be given. So in multi-programming system, to avoid the idle state, we are working with three states, that is we are discussing in our multi-programming system. Okay. What are the three states? They are running state, ready state and also waiting state. Okay. By using these three states, we can avoid the problem of CPU idle time. Okay. So next, in multi-programming systems, the operating system schedules the processes on the CPU to have the maximum utilization of it, and this procedure is called CPU scheduling. Again, in multi-programming systems, the operating system schedules the processes on the CPU to have the maximum utilization of it, and its procedure is called as CPU scheduling. As I've told you that CPU scheduling is nothing but a technique. CPU scheduling is nothing but a technique through which a processor will govern or a CPU will control the execution of multiple processes one after another smoothly or effectively. Okay. So here it is given that the CPU have to utilize maximally and to execution the processes is called as the CPU scheduling. The procedure is called as the CPU scheduling. Means maximum utilization of the CPU for different types of processes. Those are scheduled before starts its execution is called the CPU scheduling method. Okay. So next point is the operating system uses various scheduling algorithms to schedule the processes. So this is a task of the short-term scheduler to schedule the CPU for the number of processes present in the job pool. We are already discussed about the long-term scheduler, short-term scheduler and medium-term scheduler. So the task of the short-term scheduler is to schedule the CPU for the number of processes present in the job pool. Okay. So here, what is the job pool here? So the jobs are arranged after inserting the jobs by the user, they are arranged into a memory location, and that arrangement of number of processes simultaneously one after another is called as the job pool, where the jobs are situated, or where the jobs or the processes are situated within the memory location. That part or that area where the jobs are stored is called as job pool. Okay. So whenever the running process requests some IO operation, then the short-term scheduler saves the current context of the process and changes its state from running to waiting. That means whenever one running process will request some IO operation, then the short-term scheduler saves the current context of the process. That means how much part of one process will be executed, that is stored by the short-term scheduler. Okay, and it changes its state from running to waiting state. Okay, because it needs some IO operation in the meanwhile its execution is going on. Okay. So during the time process is in waiting state, the short-term scheduler picks another process from the ready queue and assigns the CPU to this process. Okay. So when one process is in waiting state, the scheduler will take another job from ready state and gives it to the, or assigns it to the CPU for its execution, and this process is called as the context switching. Okay. It is very important. Remember, again I am telling you that whenever one process is going on, its execution is going on, if it needs some IO operation, then the scheduler will saves its execution, or what total amount of execution is covered. It saves the context of that job or the process in the process control block. Okay, and changes its state from running state to waiting state. After the state will be changed, then the scheduler takes another job from the ready queue and assigns it to the CPU for its execution continuously. This procedure is called as the context switching. Okay. So here this is given here that types of CPU scheduling, or what types of scheduling methods are there, or CPU schedulings are there. There are two types of schedulings are there. One is preemptive CPU scheduling and non-preemptive CPU scheduling. This is the diagrammatic representation of types of CPU schedulings, or different types of CPU scheduling methods. Okay. So what is a preemptive and what is a non-preemptive CPU scheduling method? First we are going to discuss about the preemptive CPU scheduling method. So preemptive CPU scheduling is a CPU scheduling whenever a processor jump over to the ready queue and select a new job in the mid of the execution. That is called the preemptive CPU scheduling. Again, I am telling you, the preemptive is a CPU scheduling whenever a processor jump over to the ready queue and selects a new job in the mid of the execution, then it is called the preemptive CPU scheduling. Okay. Another important point is that it is useful in systems in which high priority processes require rapid attention. Okay. That means it is useful in those systems where high priority processes required more attention. Okay. Next, what is a non-preemptive CPU scheduling method? A non-preemptive is a CPU scheduling whenever a processor jumps over to the ready queue and selects a new process for its execution after the completion of current one, then this is called the non-preemptive. Again, I am telling you the CPU scheduling is two types. One is preemptive CPU scheduling and the second one is non-preemptive CPU scheduling. So preemptive is a CPU scheduling method where the processor jumps over to the ready queue and takes one new job at that and selects a new job in the mid of the execution of the current one, then the situation is called as the preemptive CPU scheduling. And the non-preemptive is a CPU scheduling where the processor jumps to the ready queue and takes one new job after completion of the current one, then this is called as the non-preemptive CPU scheduling. Okay. So to knowing briefly, we are going through the notes. This is preemptive CPU scheduling. In preemptive scheduling, the tasks are mostly assigned with their priorities. Sometimes it is important to run a task with a higher priority before another lower priority task, even if the lower priority task is still running. The lower priority task holds for some time and resumes when the higher priority task finishes its execution. This is called the preemptive scheduling. So what is non-preemptive scheduling? In this type of scheduling method, the CPU has been allocated to a specific process. The process that keeps the CPU busy will release the CPU either by switching context or terminating. It is the only method that can be used for various hardware platforms. That's because it does not need special hardware. For example, a timer, like preemptive scheduling. Okay. So this is all about your what is CPU scheduling and why we are using the CPU scheduling algorithms and what are the different types of CPU schedulings are there. We have discussed so far. Okay. You go through the notes carefully and read it carefully. If you have any doubt, then you can ask me. Okay. Thank you.